in Latin America now. Sometimes it's different games in different places, but the overall trend is that people are watching and getting involved much more. As context for probably the most popular streamer who used to be, and probably is right now, is Ninja. And he makes about...
What is a streamer? What is a streamer?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So one unique part of this is that a lot of people now, they actually just watch these games. So instead of instead of playing,
you mean live?
Live.
When people are playing.
Right. So Ninja, say, is a streamer, and he'll be playing in his house or in his studio, and he'll stream on a platform called Twitch. And there are several other platforms, including YouTube and places where you can stream live. And so he'll be playing live. He'll be streaming live on Twitch, and he'll have hundreds of thousands of fans who are at home watching on Twitch, watching him play and commenting and kind of interacting with fans. And so that's what Twitch is it's a live streaming platform for gamers to play their video games and for streamers to actually watch, and for fans to actually watch. And so this is a growing component too, because again, it's very similar to regular sports, right? People might be like, why would people watch a video game when they can just play it? But the truth is, we watch soccer, we watch football, and it's the same thing. Even if we play it recreationally, we want to see the top guys. Because they're good. We want to see those plays. We want to see them that skill level that we don't have. And it's the same thing with video games, where people may play the game, but then they want to watch the top streamers in the world because they do moves and they have strategies that are far beyond what the average person has. And so just that market of streaming and watching the video game, never mind the playing it and buying the game, but just watching, is already about a $3 to $4 billion market in terms of advertising, in terms of that entire economy, beyond just the playing the game itself. And that kind of points to why we are using AI in this space, because we want to be the SportsCenter of video gaming. And you could say, well, there is a SportsCenter for gaming. Why couldn't you do it the same way? Hire a bunch of people and put out a show just like SportsCenter does.
For the people that don't know SportsCenter, it's like the highlights of ESPN for sports. So that you log in at 8 o'clock p.m. and then give you all the highlights of hockey, NBA, American football, whatever. Here it's a personalized. Mine can be 3 minutes, yours can be 10 minutes or whatever. And it's personalized to the streamers that I follow, the games that I follow, rather than giving me a little bit overall like ESPN has done. SportsCenter is what made ESPN famous. So this is like the next version of that within the gaming industry.
Right, and that would not be possible without AI, because if you think about it now, if you want to get your soccer highlights, maybe you watch in the evening and you'll get one summary. Maybe the newscaster says, oh, today we'll show you these 1 minute clip. And that 1 minute clip is the same thing that everyone watching TV at the time will get. But our goal is that we all have different preferences for what we want to actually watch. I may be fans of specific players, and I want to see their clips. Someone else may be a fan of different types of plays. They want to see the defensive plays. This other guy just want to see the goals scored, things like that. So we all have different preferences. And so we say, if there are 3 million fans out there, then we should be able to deliver 3 million different customized highlights to each of those people every night, to be based on what they want to see. And that's really only possible with AI. You literally can't do that, even if you have billions of dollars to hire people to make these types of clips. So these are the types of new services that we think AI is going to enable that don't really have an analog or don't really have a similar thing in the traditional world.
What is interesting about AI in general is that in the old days, if you did a piece of software and I could give you the piece of software in a USB, and then you needed to do changes to it, if I took a year to program that, then all you had to do some changes and then you can use that software in another country. That made it very scalable for software. On this case with the AI, you do two things, which is a double whammy, because not only can I give you the code or the neural network that we wrote, but I can also give you what the neural network has learned. There was a caveat from Everhard earlier saying that you need a lot of data. That's the only caveat with AI. You need a lot of data for AI to be smarter. If you only have a very few faces, I'm not an expert on recognizing faces, but if I have 500,000 faces on my database, then I really become an expert on recognizing faces. So imagine that now that I not only can give you the software on a USB, but I can also give you the learnings of that software that I trained to be an expert on recognizing faces, for example. So with Twitch right now, you can use it for Twitch, but later on, it's not just something that they went completely vertical and only use it for video games, then you can use it for many other things, eventually just giving them different data sets. What would you do, Richie, with services like that when you're looking if people are happy or not working at what kind of other AIs are you planning on doing there?
Funny enough, AI is not our core differentiator. Like our company works because we believe personality doesn't exist, and we believe that what you are is only the story you tell yourself of who you are every day. So that's in your discourse, right? Like everything you say, the words you choose, the way you communicate, if you are very concrete in what you say, if you roam around words, if you are very clear and direct, if you're passive aggressive, like everything you are comes into what you say every day. And our company could work with an army of highly trained people on our theory, but it just turns out that language is very easily modeled as vectors of the co-occurrence of words in a sentence, right? So if I say my dog barked, then dog is highly probable to occur with bark, and my is not that important because it happens with a lot of other different words. So we can not understand because there is no consciousness on the process, but at least model somehow usefully. Like all models are wrong, right? But some are useful. So it turns out that vectorizing words is useful and can give you a good approximation of what a word means, and if it's similar to another word or different to another word. And that just happened to be called an embedding layer in a neural network, right? And neural networks just turn out to be really good approximators of functions between vector spaces. So it just turns out that mathematically it makes sense to make a vector of personality and make a vector of the text that we collect from the platforms, and then apply a lot of matrix multiplications, which is what neural networks actually are, and optimize the function, right? Like optimize that every set of these words transformed into this personality vector. So I think if we really want to make progress in AI, we need to start talking of AI like why, if a light bulb exists, you are still using candles, right? Or why, if you have a computer, you're still using a graphic calculator? Or why, if why, if you could speak on a microphone, you're still using like a cone of metal and shouting on it, right? So I think AI just there is a good way to model stuff. It has a lot of flaws, but it's useful. So we should just like accept it as a second nature, you know, like it's a way to model the world and make good approximations of stuff that could take an army of people, and then liberate those people to do more creative things, you know.
Do any of you, I want to see it on this panel, I never asked this before. There's two ways of looking at AI. Steve Hawking and Elon Musk think that there's this AI that's going to take over the world and kill the humans, literally. And not only that, I mean, they put $1 billion on the table. It's called OpenAI initiative. And then there's the people like Eric Schmidt or Bill Gates that say, no, you know, AI is going to allow us to be a lot more productive or creative because you do a lot of tedious things today that you might not have to do in the future that AI can take care of, and then you have more time to do other things. No? Of you four, who's thinking like Elon Musk and who's thinking like Eric Schmidt? Who thinks that AI is really gonna, or can take, maybe it's not definite that it's gonna take over the world, but that could happen.
Yeah, I think I'm more, I guess in the pragmatic, not so fantastic sense. I think general AI is very far away. I think machines gaining consciousness and doing their own thing without our control, I guess it's technically possible. I mean, the brain is a machine in the end, a biological machine. So if that's possible, then sure. Ones and zeros can eventually become that, but I think we're very far away from it. And at this point, AI is more about augmenting human intelligence. So sure, becoming more productive, doing things faster, and yes, as everyone has said, you know, liberate, to give you more time from those tedious tasks. and replace that with more meaningful work that's important to you.
Me, I share Elon Musk's opinion totally. I think it's already happening in a way, like attention is fundamental to consciousness, and attention is something that algorithms have already taken away from ourselves. We are already not in control of how we see things, how we perceive things, and I think there is so much progress going on in AI and consciousness, and I think it will surprise us how fast we will be able to upload minds into a server. I think it's just a matter of time. There's this book from Michael Graziano, which is Rethinking Consciousness. He sets up a new way of thinking about consciousness. He talks about a attention schema which enables us to replicate everything that we call this subjective experience into a model. So if we're already able to do that, I think maybe we are, AI is doing reverse engineering with us, and we're already very, very part of the simulation that it's generating to us. So, yeah, that's my thought.
I tend to be more on the Eric Schmidt side and say it'll help us, but I also think it depends on what we ultimately want AI to be, right? In the sense that if you look at any machine, right now, machines are far stronger than us. I mean, a machine can lift a building. We can't do that. And so, but then also that helps us. But on the other hand, that machine is also can be made into a gun that can kill people much faster than a human can. So it kind of depends. And I think with AI, it's the same idea, which is even if AI takes over a lot of tasks that we do, I don't think as a civilization we've ever been bored with ourselves. We've always found new things that we want to do, new things that we didn't have time to do before. And so even if we can't predict what will we actually replace our activities with, I have no doubt that we will find something that we'll enjoy. And I mean, now we don't I'm sure when agriculture became mechanized, people said, what are people going to do now that they don't have to farm for food? And then we figure out that, well, guess what? There's a lot of other things that we actually want to do. And so I think we'll never lack for interesting activities that we alone can do as AI takes over. But with the caveat, like I said, it also depends on how we direct that development and make sure that it is something that helps us.
I'm not going to get into it because we don't have time. But I'll ask Richie the last question in a second. But Murali used to be a neurosurgeon, and he discovered AI, and he now became an AI programmer. Just so you guys know, in Chicago. Richie, what's your take on my original question?
Again, like I said in the panel before, we need to get over ourselves, please. As a humanity, we're babies for the universe time, and we're a species that needs to evolve first as a species and then technologically, right? So I think we're a species that is very afraid of what we don't understand. And I don't think there's even I'm a panpsychist, so I don't believe that the consciousness is in the brain. So I believe it's a quantum field, and we just have the right structure to interact with it more strongly than other species. But so I'm keep working on AI because it's just a very useful tool and it's really cool math. But I think consciousness is a lot bigger than just that, and that maybe we can create machines that somehow interact with it, but still, even if we do it really wrong and end up our species, the universe is infinite. It's not even very large, it's infinite. So there are probably another, I don't know if you've read Max Tegmark, but it's very, very accepted as a conclusion of inflation, infinite inflation, that there should be other universes out there, right? So if we just fart on our universe, there are another infinite millions to replace us. So I don't think we are even that important, and that it's stupid to push the brake on our development as a species just because we're afraid of being too cool, So I think we should just keep working and try to do our best to evolve humanity as a whole, and then we'll figure out, right? If we do it right, we'll figure it out. If we do it wrong, we'll figure it out. So just stop trying to control everything we're afraid of and just take the leap and jump and then learn how to fly as we're falling.
So lastly, very nice comment, yes. Lastly, I think with great powers comes great responsibilities, and so rather than look for a government to try to control this or to, even bar it, I think that we should be aware. It's just like nuclear energy. You can do very cheap light and power for everybody, or you can do an atomic bomb, right? With AI, the same thing. So there's an applied ethics research center in Santa Clara University that I encourage you to see, because I think the ethics behind all this that we discussed today are going to be humongous. They already are. So if you can help in any way, that's a very good place to start just thinking about the issues of all these technologies, what they will allow us to do, and how should we regulate them. So thank you very much.